Hey guys, I am here with the BBL Week 1, uh, you know, recap. And before we get into it, we're actually or about to go into the free agent transactions for the week. Uh, I'm actually recording this post because my initial recording sounded garbage because of I didn't have my normal headset. But we have Bruins Girl Char Girl using all four of her transactions in 1 week, dropping like I think it was like Poltegeist, Raikou, Espeon, and Galarian Zapdos. Um, I didn't hate them, but I was kind of mixed on them. Um, like dropping all four of your mons in 1 week isn't exactly the best idea because it changes your team up a lot. Whereas like if you do it kind of just gradually, you're able to kind of like form your team easier around this one strategy. I know because I've made it before where I've dropped like all my transactions in 1 week and it was just like, oh, this was not the best idea. But then we have Hawaiian Shaman dropping Celebi and Banette for Trevenant and Mesprit. I really like those transactions. Knight dropping Deoxys for Darkrai. That's probably for the best. Arch dropping more Pico for Raikou. Good. Yeah, at least it hit something else, although I do like more Pico. I don't even know how he had enough points for that transaction. I'll have to go back and look. And then Quack dropped Genesect, Spectre, and Guzzlord for Aromatisse and Cinnamon and Deoxys. I like all of those except for Genesect. I think he was better off keeping Genesect. Yeah, but we're going to be getting into this game between LW and Red of the Fox Royal Heroes and the Jordan Greninjas. And real quick, we're going to be having, 3 award nominations for the week: Play of the Week, Game of the Week, and Pokemon of the Week. So we're actually going to see a nominee for Play of the Week happen right here on this turn, and it is going to be Landorus going for Stealth Rocks and living just by the skin of his teeth in Ice Punch. I thought that was fantastic. Just setting up for it. Funny enough, he didn't put any HP into his Landers. He just put like max defense, max speed F. Just thinking, and it just was enough. So I was like, oh wow. But yeah, letting him get up his rocks and keep this alive is pretty important. Lander staying cool under pressure gives him a pretty switch, get more momentum, and those rocks actually proved pretty pivotal because that superpower I'm pretty certain was not killing off of that one. Yeah, and then here comes a Weezing and a Emboar battle. I really like Emboar. Um, I think he actually dropped Emboar recently after the initial recording. I'll have to check. But yeah, yeah, that's gonna be a Destiny Bond kill. See that later on. You'll see when. So Manaphy comes out and subs up, and it's able to break the sub, but still not going to do a ton even after it. So he switches Hardened Toxtricity. I think he didn't make a bad play. And right here, goes to Electros, Overdrive, and what I'd say is Protect I kind of get, but I feel like he didn't need it. I think if he was, because he was Throat Spray, right? If he was Shift Gear Throat Spray, I think this could have just been not GG per se, because I don't think +1 Snarl kills Metagross, but I think he could have gotten through a lot more of the team. Like if he gets rid of, especially because it's Mega Metagross. Now I think about it, it certainly wasn't bringing through that. But Porygon gets a kill with Ice Beam, but that was after Landers got the knock, and that's gonna be a bit more important right now. Tail glows up, and I'm pretty sure without that EVLI, it guarantees that this kills. Whereas I think it might have lived anyway. Not that it'll matter, because Azu here, it's not Sap Sipper. It would have been cool if it was like Sap Sipper Belly Drum just to like trick him. But yeah, that's gonna be it for LW. Manaphy gets a sweep, and Manaphy is, I don't believe it was actually nominated for Pokemon of the Week. No, no, it was not. It was not. But it did get a sweep, and I pointed out with Bob that Manaphy was really good on his team, on Red's team, just because it's a Pokemon that you get in kind of mid to late game, and it can kind of do that. So here we go. Arch versus M-Man. M-Man again, a team I thought was really good, and this is where I think he made a mistake with his lead. Um, like it first well against like 5 of the 6 Pokemon, but that 6th Pokemon Mega Man trick is, you know, the easy counter lead. So I feel like you just can't bring it against it. Like whereas if you have multiple possible leads that could do just as good, you could make that that work. Um, like if he had made his lead his Ghost Guy, I think that could work because it would have like still had a decent matchup against most of the team and would have baited in the Meta trick. Um, but yeah, so that was obviously banded. V-Crate did a lot, even at -1. Volt Switch comes out. Yeah, and then like it's one of those things. He's getting this in, but then that just lets it Mega Man trick. With that if he could get rid of that Mega Man trick with like a healthy, like Ferrothorn, he could possibly, you know, just win right there. But yeah, so like he gets in Victini. Victini takes a big Thunderbolt. I'm wondering why didn't he go into his why am I forgetting the name of it? The Ghost Ground. I love that Pokemon too. I don't know why I'm forgetting its name. I'll have to see it when it comes up. But yeah, I think that would have been a good Pokemon to get in because the only thing he could hit it with is Flamethrower. Golurk, thank you. If he'd gotten that in on the Flamethrower, like even if it goes with Flamethrower, it's like you only taking like 30 damage, and you can pile it off of Poltergeist because I can still hit and make him electric, I believe. Since you know it is holding an item, it's not. I mean, Mega Stones aren't in Gen 8, so you can't technically say how they would work, but you could imagine that's how it would work. So he gets that in, goes Golurk. Golurk, as I said, takes 33, and that's not even AV. I think you would have AV would have been really good in this game. I think AV with Poltergeist, just what's the switch in, right? You look at Archer's team, like nothing wants to take a max attack. Poltergeist, everything's taking a lot of damage. Like the only real switch is Rotom, which takes a lot, and then you just switch out into like Ferrothorn or something. And with Rocks up as he does, it would have been better. So anyway, he goes for Toxic, which I'm like, Poltergeist, go for Poltergeist. Well, he didn't actually have Poltergeist, which I was like, what? Why no Poltergeist? I guess I don't know why he said he forgot to bring it, but I don't know. So yeah, so here comes out the T-Wave. That's not that big a deal because it's Ferrothorn, it's already slow, so if anything, it's going to make his Gyro Ball a bit stronger when he goes for it. So he gets off C. It's not a bad play, but I think Gyro Ball was the good thing to spam right there. I believe he goes for it this turn, and even at -1, it does a pretty decent chunk. So he doubles out into Xurkitree, while he doubles out into his Mega Altaria, yet to be Mega. Interestingly enough, he switches out. I think it was because he was fearing Earthquake, even though he packs stats on Glaive. So he goes for the Defog here, which I don't hate per se, but I feel like rocks were hurting his opponent more than webs were hurting him. And yeah, I definitely think just going for damage here was the best play because it kind of forces a kill. It does a lot more than just getting hazards away, especially because he went into Galvantula and just set up webs again. Kind of just nullify, like resetting that whole scenario of defog into the Elvis. So he goes for Surf, probably predicting the Golurk. Just stays in. Leech Seeds because he doesn't really need to switch out. Goes into that. Gyro Balls, does a good chunk. Switches back out to the Golurk. And Golurk here is actually, funny enough, going to go. Well, you'll see it right now. I don't know what he was predicting there, but he just goes for Stone Edge anyway. I think he said it was to hit the Rotom, but I'm like, Poltergeist hits the Rotom harder by a lot. But yeah, out comes Xurkitree, and he switches hard to Ferrothorn, which I think is a good play. by the way, because we're gonna see another Tailgaloo come out this week. And right here, he's definitely gonna want to like attack circuitry. Just look at that. That did a lot, and you need to put him low so you can revenge him. Instead, he goes for Leech Seed, which is actually only gonna proc it one time, like damage-wise, because it's gonna be a sweep. So yeah, without spoiling too much, I guess that's gonna be this game. Yeah, definitely had to go for Gyro Ball right there. Not going for Gyro Ball, I think, was a bad play. It puts him down to the point where after a few Life Orb hits, he dies. And yeah, he's got Dazzling Wave, he's got Energy Ball, and that's gonna be this game. Alright, and yeah, so that's pretty much gonna be game. Nothing on his team is Scarf, not even the Porygon Z. This is what I get for, you know, saying Arch's team is the worst while putting M-Mans as one of the top few. Yeah, going for the Leech Seed instead of Gyro Ball pretty much meant that the game was Xurkitry's, and that's going to give Xurkitry a nominee for Pokemon of the Week. By the way, this is actually the second time I haven't recorded this little bit, because apparently my microphone wasn't set up all the way, so it was just dead silence for like 20 minutes outside of the music. That's fun. Having to do all that again. But yeah, good old win for Arch. It's gonna be, what was that, a 4-0? Yeah, a 4-0. Xurkitry falling to the Life Orb on the very last turn. Yeah, still counts as a 4-0 for him. But yeah, 6-0 sweep by Xurkitry. I guess 6-1 because it died at the end. But, you know, yeah, that's whenever you get a sweep, it's really good. And if Xurkitry had Tailgo last season, I might have beat Camel. That's all I'm going to say. Alright. Oh, here we go. This game. Embiid versus Quack. And this one's not going to be pretty. Yeah, Embiid, you know, he played it okay for parts of this, but if you look at his team, he doesn't really have much that actually hits a Gliscor. You might think, hey, like, especially because he's Gliscor, like right here, Entei goes for Toxic, which I was like, why does he have Toxic? And Sacred Fire was probably Sacred Fire or Stone Edge was the better play. Yeah, he plays this really weird. So like right here, the Charizard goes for Weather Ball, it does over half, and he clicks Stone Edge, which I'm like, not a bad play, but he misses. But then he clicks it again, which was very perplexing, because Sacred Fire does over double what Stone Edge does, because of the Sun Boost. Because like, let's see how much Stone Edge does when I let it resume. But even if he like switches out to like Charizard or Slowking, he still does, like, it still does a lot to Charizard, and Slowking, you know, you could also calculate see if that was Modest Zard on the Weather Ball, because my guess is that it was. You know, when old Dakota stopped talking. That's just something I noticed. I was like, I was talking a lot back then. Yeah, so that did 26, so it would have done over half, because it's essentially a 2.25, right? So if it did 26 there, it's doing pretty close to 60, putting it in a possible 2 KO range. Yeah, but then he tries to, you know, do all this, and Roar comes out from Charizard, which was like, wow, and it pulled in the Entei, which I guess sucks, but yeah, it happens. By the way, yeah, so that Sacred Fire in the Sun would have done 58.5 approximately. So yeah, even, I mean, I guess, you know, he could stall it a bit, but even then you're putting that thing down low. Weather Ball comes out, brings this down low. He goes for Draco, and I thought he maybe should have been Expert Belt. Like, if he's Expert Belt, he can click Hex here and kill it. Or if Specs, sorry, not Expert, if he was Specs Hex, it pretty much got like a kill here. Instead, he just spams Draco Meteor. Did not like it wasn't very it felt very like a desperate play. Like you can I've been there before where you're just clicking to move hoping for a crit or something because and then he goes into Jolteon, which cannot touch this. I don't even know why he has to. He spit F, by the way. It would have only done like 20 something. Camel should have just clicked Earthquake. It did not matter. Actually, I don't even know if he had Earthquake. He might have just had knockoff. Now I think about it. Yeah. Bullet Punch comes out, sacks it. I don't know why he sacks this instead of the Jolteon or the Landorus. But yeah, he's pretty much at this point like run out of what he can to hit the score. And yeah, he goes into this finally. He should have gone into it far sooner. If he had gone onto it like when he was spamming Draco, right? And he was just like kind of like stalling out turns. If he goes into it on the knock on the list score, instead of healing 12, he takes 25 from poison damage and forces a switch out and gets damage. And I think that would have been good for Cofagrigus, but yeah, he didn't do that at all. But yeah, I definitely think the Cofagrigus and the Dragapult should have been a lot bigger in this game than they were. I think they could have been a bigger focus. But also, I just think that he just struggled to like build. Like normally, it's not that hard to build for like something that's fire, but it is a Charizard Y, which is a bit different than just your normal fire type because it gets a sun boost. So it's just an extra it's essentially a Specs Pokemon with an already high special attack stat. Yeah, and without hidden power, touching the score is a pain. I can't believe, by the way, people wanted to vote out hidden power for this because it's like, okay, well, not everyone gets it, but you also allowed pursuit and this and that. I'm like, man, if these things had hidden power, something like Gliscor would not be doing this. Like, legit. Like, you would slap hidden power on this, killed it a lot sooner. It would not have been coming in as much as it did on whatever. Hell, even Scizor could have ran it just so it could get damage off. Yeah, and that's pretty much going to be it. This is finally going to die after long turns. I don't know why he had to stall. Knockoff comes out. Yeah, see how little that Shadow Ball did. This is a 41 turn 6-0. You don't see that often. Yeah, that's going to be it for this game. Good win by Quack. And hopefully MB can kind of bounce back next week. Just kind of prepping for his matches a little bit more. Alright, speaking of prep, this is a game that, well, you see the Piloswine. I kind of suggested to Hawaiian Shame because I helped him a little bit to not bring that, to instead bring a Mesprit that he picked up in free agency. Because I think it was a lot better versus this matchup. There's no real good Psychic switch in. It can U-turn out, do all these things, and it's a good check for Infernape. And he even said, I was like suggesting Scarf. He said maybe Fizdef, and I was like, okay, that's not bad either, But then he ended up just sticking with Piloswine because he was like, which he didn't really need. I'm like, he had enough on his team to handle like Mega Diancie and Rayquaza that he didn't really need Piloswine. So I was still like just wondering like what. And then this comes out and it's Assist Infernape. You should have figured that out when the Shell Smash came out from the what's his name? The damn Smeargle. Yeah, you know something's up with that. Yeah, so he could have also been Geomancy. I guess he didn't want to. Don't know why. I'm pretty certain it worked with Geomancy, though. We'd have to check. Because it kind of like is iffy with Assist is iffy with two-turn moves. Like most of them it doesn't hit, but some of them it still does for whatever reason. Earthquake comes out, brings it not to half, so it didn't even need the Sugar to live. This thing could have been like Specs, which would have been better in this matchup, even though it wasn't actually something that he would have known to bring. I was actually thinking before, maybe it needs some special attack investment. Yeah, and this Infernape's gonna do a lot, but you know, Earth Power comes out, does a lot as well, but, you know, Earthquake can beat to a KO because this time it doesn't have the Shika. Out comes Father Swine, just drops. He should have sacked Keldeo or Naganadel there. Whichever one didn't need as much, probably the Keldeo, if being honest, but either one didn't really matter. If he sacks to close combat, he gets it a much lower defense, and he has to, you know, he can, I don't know why, he had Ice Shard, and he didn't go for it for damage, not quite sure why. And then close combat comes out, and that's pretty much going to be it for the game. Everything's going to drop. That drops. Like, if he gets it just a bit lower, like if he sacks Chansey, which is it, right? Or Blissey, it brings it to the point where, yeah, you just come back out, Ice Shard it, or if he sacks Keldeo or Naganadel, Ice Shard it, Bullet Punch, and then, spoilers, Camel had really bad sets. He had, like, Fly, Dive, Dragon Tail on Rayquaza because he couldn't have anything that could be assisted. He had Nature Power for both Feeny and Mega Diancie. Pretty much in terrain was just Moonblast. That was it. Wasn't really going to touch anything. And then he had bad sets on him anyway. So, and Ditto wasn't going to be able to Ditto anything to sweep because he kind of had it to where his team couldn't sweep his own team. Shane did. So, yeah, like I said, I think he focused too much on like Rayquaza and Mega Diancie instead of like, and even without knowledge of, oh, he's gonna go for assist sweep. Although I think Bob told him look out for assist like Geomancy or something, or some sort of assist shenanigans. Like Mesprit would have like slowed him down a lot, and Cal was like, oh, I would have, you know, not gone for it right away. But it's like, well, your team gets whittled down, and eventually you have to go for it. But if he just never gives you the opportunity, as long as Mesprit's healthy, you know, it lives. +2 Fire Punch. Here we go. The Shadow versus Bruins game. We are seeing Miltank lead against the Vikavolt. Like they both trade hazards. I think she should have clicked, you know, Body Slam. I don't know what her spread was, but if she was Spadef, she should eat, and she's faster, so she could Miltank up and stall some turns. I don't think she had Toxic, but if she did, she could have clicked that. Yeah. I don't get why she switched out of the Thunderous, because was she like that hard trying to, or was she trying that hard to get like a spin-off, even though this thing could just reset webs eventually. Also, Shadow has, you know, hazards. Shadow's too good of a player to click Volt Switch when she has 2 immunities, including one right in front of her. He's not gonna just take useless damage. So yeah, so I don't quite get it. I think if anything, if she's gonna Volt Switch, go hard into Magearna, because it's probably her best bet to eat a hit without like taking too much. Either that or into Miltank again to scout. And yeah, U-turn comes out. Sure, gets a spin. Sorry, rapid spin, not U-turn comes out. But again, it's like this can just reset webs. I mean, she goes into Magearna, which Shadow makes a switch into Heat Drain, so that way she can't try to set up, or at least so that way he can combat it. And she doesn't. She goes for Dazzling Gleam, though that could be set up Magearna. Hard to tell. It could have been Specs, though Specs I would assume would run Floor Cannon, because Floor Cannon's that damn good. It's just very Draco. Clef, Magic Guard, so better for it to be paralyzed, I suppose, but we're not going to see it get paralyzed. Heatran comes out. Toxic. I don't know what she was toxicking on, what she was expecting, because Clef, you know, paralyzed, even if it goes for Heal Bell, doesn't matter, that's poison. So then this gets toxic, a la Malola, and then it's going to get trapped with Magma Storm, so now it's on a few turn timer, dies in like 2-3 turns. It wished up, Skull comes out, protect, blah blah blah. So right here, she's gonna die to poison, right? She dodges the Magma Storm. She clicks Scald. She should have clicked Wish because she could have gone hard into Thunderous, forced it out and been up to full. So when he goes out into Vagavolt, right? It's a lot easier for her to handle this thing. She could have maybe clicked an electric move like Volt Switch on Heatran to scout, and then back out on the web, so that's not really going to matter. Webs in this matchup didn't really matter. I think she was focusing too much on them, but she didn't have a whole lot that was grounded, and then what she did have that was grounded wasn't super fast. It was really just so like Magearna couldn't sweep, which is annoying, but like she can just wait on that. Because Magearna doesn't really need to, like, at +1 Magearna should be able to like handle just about everything anyway on this matchup. Now it comes out. She saves the Thunderous. In order to do so, she has to get a defog off. Out comes Ice Shard. Then out comes High Horsepower, which is weird because I think she dropped Thwacky, I want to say, before this game, and so I don't get why High Horsepower came out. Maybe it was built while she had it. I'm pretty sure she dropped Thwacky unless she picked up Thwacky, but even then it's like kind of weird because he has ice moves. Out comes the D-Dance right here. On just this thing coming out, the Salamence coming out to begin with, she should have gone hard into Magearna to force it out, because she was shook up. You don't let this thing get DDs up. She like takes a chance to heal, and I didn't get why. Yeah, it was very confusing why she went for Milk Drink here. It was pretty not good play. Yeah, Body Slam comes out. That's not gonna break the sub. It's gonna be a 2KO on the sub, but like she keeps spamming it on the sub, and it's just gonna let this thing set up till it like gets up high. And again, she had to go Magearna to force this thing out. She should have done it sooner. Even if like Shadow doesn't set up and saves it, it still shows that he's afraid of Magearna. And if he does attack it and she kills it with Dazzling Believe, then good, it's gone. So yeah, I was very confused by just that whole scenario. I mean, we'll think better than this, so that means it was pretty much Fizz Def. But even then, it doesn't break the sub. And like, she could have maybe sacked Skuntank, but if she sacks Skuntank, that basically means she's also sacking Thunderous, which also isn't good, because she needs Thunderous to break through the rest of the team. She needed Thunder plus Mag to win after this thing is dead, which could win her the game, but without, yeah. Again, going hard Magearna means she preserves the chance to defog, which means preserves the chance to keep her Thunderous alive. Yeah. I know it's hard to play against Salamence, Megaments per se, but like I think she had a good enough built team to do so, and and I think her bringing Shuka shows that she tried to, but I think she just played around it pretty roughly. Yeah, so right here he's gonna go for the EQ in a second, and yeah, even if Aftermath got the kill, Magearna wasn't enough. Magearna plus Miltank wasn't enough to break through this team. Because I mean, she just brings out Heatran. Magearna would have to dodge at least one, if not two, Magma Storms, because I don't think one Focus Blast was killing, and it was gonna drop. Like if she sets up, it was gonna drop to Magma Storm. So yeah, she would have to dodge two Magma Storms just to plus up, have Thunderbolt to win. Well, okay, maybe not. Depends on what Suicune was. And yeah, that's gonna be it for the Magearna, and that's also gonna be it for the Thunderous. So yeah, that's gonna get Salamence a nomination for Pokemon of the Week. It's not a 6-0. I think it was like a 4-0, or actually a 3-0 because of the Thunderous died of Rock. So whoever got the Rock kill, which was Heatran. But yeah, this was not actually the final game played this week, but this is the game of the week. So I saved it for last. Really good game between Knight and his fiance Monkey. So yeah, so we're gonna see the Cinderace lead against the BBL, he saves it because he's afraid of a scarf, which makes a lot of sense. Goes to Superior, seeds come out, sub comes up, but it's teleport. Woo, teleports out in the BBL, and this is a very confusing play. She switches out when I think she could have just, because B-Drill didn't really have anything to hit behind a sub. It doesn't matter if she can't touch B-Drill, because if he goes for Poison Jab, that's fine, you just get some damage off. And if he clicks U-Turn, which he does there, I believe, you're fine. You just fire off Leaf Storm on something else, and you just move on from there. So yeah, so getting like 45 off on 45 off on Gastrodon is bad, and then Energy Welcome comes and kills it anyway. Lele's kind of a bastard about that. It's good because I had it last year. He got a lot of kills in just a few short weeks. Psychic comes out, gets another kill. He's already got 2 kills. In comes the Chansey, and like Shadow Ball doesn't do anything to Chansey, but it does have sub. Like, oh, yeah. So this is gonna give it a Calm Mind, and she's gonna teleport out into the Quag. Now, here's the confusing thing, because he had to be Water Absorbed because that just died to a +1 Shadow Ball. Like, even if he was unaware, it's a 2-hit KO, and he can just sub up on the Chansey again. But it was weird that it just died. I think he could have subbed up again on the U-turn, but it wouldn't have made too terrible a difference. Well, I guess with a sub up, you know, she can kill this a lot easier. Well, I mean, never mind. Stone Edge comes out anyway and kills it. She could have also just saved this, but then again, I don't think she wanted to risk any of her team. Maybe Baynet, since Baynet would have lived, it would have been a good thing to switch into. But yeah, so here comes the Destiny Bond. The fact how slow Baynet is basically means it can Destiny Bond every other turn and get full use of it. For a simple one like Gengar, they're faster than the opponent. It makes Destiny Bond a lot harder to use. Yeah, so being a slow Destiny Bond user with Prankster is like really good. Yeah, so Shadow Ball comes out, and yeah, Destiny Bond does work in terrain because you're not actually targeting your opponent or anything. So not sure if Knight predicted it to fail or what, but he had the opportunity to bulk up into Roost every other turn and just sweep with the Hawlucha, because that's what that could do. Instead, it's just gonna die to the Destiny Bond, which puts us at a 2-2 stand right now. Oddly, so like, I don't think this was a bad thing to go out into, because like, it's Sash Revolve. I think she could have clicked Knock into Ice Shard if she was going to click Ice Shard. Knock being a lot stronger, even without it like knocking anything off. And then she clicks Ice Shard again on the Chansey, where I'm like, just click Knock Off. Like if he goes U-turn on it into Chansey, clicks the knockoff, 2 knockoffs kills, and then brings back out the B-Drill, where you get the Ice Shard kill or damage off. Instead, you have to land 2 Pyro Balls, and this is where it comes interesting. So he goes for Pyro Ball. She goes for Pyro Ball. 95% accuracy. No, it's not. It missed. Patrol Run, also 95% accuracy, maybe 90, but I believe it's 95. Also missed. Yeah, so Pyro Ball finally lands. That's gonna get the kill. Yeah, that was very good. The right Pokemon won. I think she played well enough to win. I just think that she has to clean up some of the details, right? When you have a sub up, save it. You know, let Knight U-turn, because there was no big threat of like even if he SDs, she has enough on her team to like make a it's not gonna sweep her. But yeah, here comes the weekly awards. Obviously, Infernape with its 6-0 sweep gets the Pokemon of the week. Mega Banette gets the play of the week for its use of Destiny Bond, being able to switch out from Destiny Bond to Shadow Claw. Big thing. And then of course it was Game of the Week. It was such a good game still to watch, even with some mistakes that needed cleaned up by both players. Still very exciting. And yeah, that's gonna be it for the weekly awards. I'm not sure if Infernape's gonna keep this up, because it got it through an assist, and I think people are gonna like make sure they don't get gamed on every week. Bob said it's gonna be hard to
prep for someone like Camel's team, but I think it's not too hard. Because if he does go meme, then you really only got to worry about 1 or 2 Pokemon. Whereas if he goes true build, you have to worry about 6. So I think that's the biggest threat. I think you just make sure like 1 or 2 mons can't lose to like assist Geomancy or Shell Smash. That's kind of all. but yeah. So I believe that's going to mean Xurkitree and Infernape are both the kill leaders for the week, although Infernape will have the better differential because Xurkitree did die to Life Orb. Yeah, Shadow did not put his score in for the week at that time of the recording. He just forgot to, even though he'd been telling everyone, hey, put your score in. He hadn't put it up for like several hours. Yeah. So, yeah, LW with the 0-3, Red with 3-0 win, Arch with 4-0 win, Camel with the 5-0 win, Monkey with the only one lower than a 3-0 win, since Quack got a 6-0, actually no, yeah, because Red was a 3-0 victory, so yeah, that was the next lowest differential. Yeah, so looking into next week, we're going to be having Monkey take on Quack. That should be an interesting matchup. Both undefeated as well, or both undefeated. Knight against Twine Shaman, both looking for their first victory. LW versus Embiid, also both looking for their first win. Shadow versus Arch. When Shadow built his team, my immediate thought was, man, Shadow seems like he kind of struggles a bit versus electric types. I'll have to double check his team. He might make a transaction if he doesn't really have a good immunity or switch in. But yeah, that could be interesting. Camel versus M-Man. M-Man looking for his first win. Maybe he can get it versus Camel. Alright, if he can outplay the memes. Then Red versus Bruins. Red with the 1-0 he is 1-0. Bruins looking for a first win on the season. Yeah, so we could anywhere go. We'll have anywhere from 2 to 4 undefeateds this week. Very interesting to look out for. Hopefully next week I'll also have Bob or someone else here on the recording with me, so I'm just not talking alone. I'll also have, my mic and everything fully set up, so that'll be good. But yeah, that'll be it for me, guys. I'll be getting out of here. Hope everyone enjoyed this first week of BBL season. What are we in now? Season 5? 4? 5 actually. Yeah, we're in season 5. Man, I keep forgetting that. Anyway, I'm gonna be getting out. See you guys.